I am slightly disturbed. I feel like my mind has been violated. Little Red Riding Hood is the latest Disney short that I've watched. It is the second laugh-ograms reel that I've watched, and there are some things about it that I would really like to ask Walt Disney about. But I have to say, in terms of the animation, it's really good. And there's one particular moment that I really thoroughly enjoyed, and I will mention that. But I'll talk a little bit about this first. There's a little section I want to read out from Wikipedia, because I think it kind of explains the importance of this little short really nicely. This was released originally in 1922, and for a long time it was actually missing, and it was recovered not long ago, to the best of my knowledge, 1998. So it was missing for 60 years, depending on when it went missing, of course. And this very loosely tells the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. There is no wolf, but there is a man, and that man is chasing after this little girl, and it looks like how it sounds. And at the end of it, I won't say exactly what happens, but at the end of it, there's another man flying a plane, and the way he treats the little girl is, again, not exactly what one would expect. If they just called her Red Riding Hood, maybe I would be able to say, well, it's probably that, she's older in this one and she's not the young child from the fairy tale. But the Little Red Riding Hood, to me, kind of, from that I infer that she is a child. And she looks like a child compared to the other characters in terms of the style of drawing and things. So there are some questionable images on screen. But the actual animation itself is really pleasing. So I'll read this bit from Wikipedia. And it says, rather than using animation cells, it was made mostly by photographing inked lines on paper. The film is considered to be lost for many years, and we also have the first appearance of Julius the cat. Now, something I didn't know is that Julius the cat was actually Disney's first named and recurring character. I didn't know that. I'm well aware of the character, of course, and I've seen various bits of Julius the cat, but I had no idea that it was the first named character. I genuinely, because I'd seen the film Walt before Mickey, I kind of just felt like Mortimer Mouse, who became Mickey Mouse, was the first Disney. So that's me told. So from a historical perspective and the history of animation, obviously really innovative. Walt Disney is testing a lot of things here, and when you watch it, it is quite pleasing. Things do flow quite well. There's a lot of repetition though, which makes sense, because, if you repeat things, it's much easier than drawing everything by hand again and again. But the first it's about 8 minutes, and the first 2 minutes is just this grandmother in a kitchen throwing things into a pan or from a pan, and Julius the cat is there shooting them. And this scene nothing happens, and it just goes on for about 2 minutes. And it's like, well, how is this Little Red Riding Hood? So I feel like the narrative is missing. I watched this 3 times in a row, and I still have questions about what was going on in certain scenes and certain moments. So either a bit of it is lost, which I have no evidence for, I've not read that anywhere, or the narrative just isn't very well developed. But again, with this, it wasn't really about the storytelling, was it? It was about the experimenting with the inked lines and seeing what Walt Disney could do with this. So in that respect, I really liked it. The storytelling perspective, not so much. But the bit that I loved, and I guess this goes with the experimentation, is where, and this doesn't spoil anything, but the man who is kind of the wolf character, he parks his car, and then he shrinks his car several times, and quite quickly the car shrinks. And I really enjoyed that. And then he puts it in his pocket and walks away. I thought it was weird, but I really liked it. Definitely, if you're a Disney fan, give this a watch. It's not, if you're looking for a good adaptation of Little Red Riding Hood, no, this is definitely not that. But in terms of the early works of Disney, I'm going to get a little emotional. Like many people, I have grown up with Disney. Without Disney, I don't think I would be the person I am. And it's just beautiful to see how everything all started, and it's magical in some senses, creepy and sinister and perverted in others, but magical from an animation perspective.